Public hearing is before.
What? Public hearing is before.
You want us to rearrange the schedule?
I can't believe, literally, you might as well stay in.
What are we doing?
Yes.
What's
up first?
Tall. Hold on.
No. After the public hearing.
Recording in progress.
Fix the sound.
Holy mackerel.
Let's make sure we're here.
Stir this 2 more seconds.
Okay.
One of those.
You can start.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Morristown Council meeting. It's May 9th, 2023. We just exited executive session, so I'll ask Stephanie to take roll call, please.
Okay. Councilman Armington,
Here.
Councilwoman Cotton, present. Councilwoman Foster,
Here.
Councilman Iannicone,
Here.
Councilman Silva,
Present.
Councilman Umbriac,
Here.
and Council President Mayer.
Here. Thank you. We're going to go into a moment of silence, and like I do about every council meeting, let us keep the members of the community of Allen, Texas in our thoughts, because we once again had another mass shooting in this country. And on that note, I will not expound, so a moment of silence, please. Thank you. And if everybody could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to read the statement of compliance. I, Stephanie Morales, the Deputy Clerk of the Town of Morristown, do hereby state that it is 7:33 on Tuesday, May 9th, 2023, and that this regular hybrid meeting is being held via webinar and in person. Both adequate and electronic notice of this meeting were provided according to law by written notice to the Morristown Daily Record, the official newspaper of the Town of Morristown, and to the Newark Star Ledger, both more than 48 hours ago. Notice was also posted in Town Hall and on the town website and filed with the office of the Town Clerk of the Town of Morristown. I do further state that I shall enter into the minutes of this meeting a statement that such notice was furnished as particularly described by me in this public announcement.
Thank you.
Okay. So before we go into consent agenda, there is an announcement that I was told to state. Ordinance O-11-2023, Planning Board Consistency Review was moved to May 25th, 2023, with public hearing and possible adoption on June 13th, 2023.
What was it?
Oh, sorry, we are,
There's an order.
no, there is no 11. It was moved to, it was an announcement I was told by the clerk to state.
Okay. All right, we go to consent agenda approval. of
Sure.
minutes.
There are 2 items on the consent agenda this evening. Can I get a motion to adopt items 1 and 2?
I'll make a motion to adopt agenda 1 and 2. Actually, we're going to do it separately because Tawana was absent for one meeting, so we're going to call it separately.
Okay. So we'll start with item number 1, approval of minutes, April 11th, 2023, the regular town council meeting. So I will start with Councilman Armington,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton.
Which one would I miss?
You missed that.
This one? Okay, abstain.
Okay. Councilwoman Foster,
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone,
Yes.
Councilman Silva,
Yes.
Councilman Umbriac,
Yes.
and Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Item number 2 is approval of minutes of April 25th, 2023, the town council regular meeting. Councilman Armington,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster,
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone,
Yes.
Councilman Silva,
Yes.
Councilman Umbriac,
Yes.
and Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Okay? Sorry?
We're going to move into a public hearing now. You will read a statement.
Yes, I will. Before we get started, please be aware that public comment during public hearing portions of this meeting will be held both in person and through the Zoom app. At the appropriate time, members of the public wishing to speak should indicate so by raising his or her hand in chambers or in the app. To comment via Zoom, click on Raise Your Hand icon at the bottom left side of your screen. You may also raise your hand by pressing *9 on your phone. When it is your turn, the moderator will send a signal through the app and ask you to unmute yourself so that you may be heard. To unmute yourself on the phone, press *6.
Okay. We'll start with members of the public in chambers. Is there anybody here who would like to address us right on this side of the room? Come up to speak. Come on up. You go to this microphone.
In the middle.
So just state your name and address.
Okay. Hello, my name is Mila Elms. I live at 61 Overlook Road, and I'm a sophomore at Morristown High School. I play volleyball, club, and school, and it is the only sport I play, and it is also my favorite sport. I'm here tonight to address the council and specifically to thank the mayor and Miss Jillian Barrick for meeting with me on Tuesday of last week. I requested a meeting to discuss the possibility of building a sand volleyball court in Morristown. Last week, we had an incredibly productive meeting. We talked about every park in Morristown, Caldwell, Budd, Granby, and Lidgerwood, and the viability of making space for a volleyball court. We went park by park and came to the conclusion that Lidgerwood Park was the best suited for this purpose. I will hand out a packet in just a moment, but first I would like to discuss the rising popularity of volleyball in the United States, not just amongst female athletes, but also men's volleyball and also amongst adults playing in adult leagues throughout the country. Did you know that sand volleyball was the very first event to sell out tickets at the 2016 Olympics in Rio? A sand volleyball court measures 40 feet by 70 feet. That means a court consumes less than 3,000 square feet of space and can be built in the range of $30,000 to $40,000. Another thing for the council to know is that there are at least 6 public basketball courts in Morristown, but 0 volleyball courts. We are not asking for 6, we are just asking for 1. With the help of the administration, I plan to work diligently to form a committee of fellow volleyball devotees and work closely with the mayor and Ms. Barrick to identify a location and, most importantly, allocate money in the Morristown budget to get this done. In the meantime, we will build additional support both at MHS and amongst Morristown residents. We look forward to possibly making volleyball in Morristown a reality before the end of 2023, or definitely in the year 2023. Thank you.
Thank you.
24th, that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it? Yep. Is there anybody else in chambers that wants to speak? Come on up.
Good evening, good evening. Rob Tucker, 34 Jersey Ave, Morristown. I'm actually here just to share a little Morristown history, if that's okay. We got the open mic. I'll be reading a statement here. A place and time, most of the 1970s, the youth of Morristown's Second Ward enjoyed what could be deemed a magic carpet ride. There'd be little to no stories of strife, but a zest in natural abundance and the beauty of life. In fact, the Morristown Neighborhood House, a sanctuary of culture and pride, was a gathering of youthful souls with an unspoken intent and a will to abide. Basketball games, music abroad, festive and immense fun. The incomparable Taifa dancers, the free spirit of youth, children dwelling in the embryos of lifelong bonds that had begun. There was an ever-present pulse in the air, a vibrant beat that the community danced to. Seemingly every day in the park appeared to be a World's Fair. As generations of perhaps thousands matriculated through the Second Ward, head to the sky, confidence with a gleaming stare, an omnipresent consciousness of kinship with love abound and innately shared. The neighborhood house and Caldwell playgrounds were meccas and platforms of love. And now, across all four corners of this nation are countless folks who are forever bound together, all because William Butch Barber planted the seeds that would manifest and grow into human endeavor. When we think of Butchie Barber, we think of triumph, we think of pride, we think of resolution to a perpetual plan to hold up in honor and permanence this empathetic and giving mountain of a man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wants to speak? Come on up, Billy.
Good evening. My name is Bill Byrne, and I live at 100 Franklin Street, Morristown. And I'm here to talk about, yesterday I was taking a walk, and I saw this guy rode a motorcycle on the sidewalk here, right in front of Borough Hall here, right as I was walking up Franklin Street. And then I got another thing. Why is where it says stop for pedestrians, it's kind of like on the side of the road, and it's not like in the middle of the street, and it's a sign that says stop for pedestrians, but you know, I guess when they were plowing or whatever they were doing, they moved the sign, but they didn't put it back. And then we got to get these electric scooters off the sidewalks. This is really going to get out of hand real fast if we don't do anything about it. Thank you.
Really, thank you.
Is there anybody else in chambers? Shirley, is there anyone online? No? I'm going to closing public comments. Council members?
Yeah, I'll start. Just the only comment I have is relative to Mr. Burns' comments. I believe there is an ordinance that prohibits electric scooters from riding on the sidewalk. So.
I just want to thank Mr. Tucker for that reading. It was very nice. Thank you for that.
I think that the purpose of the reading is in regard to what we have been working to pass resolution to organize well the honoring of. So I think we should give an answer because that's what they're here for. Yes, they're saying yes.
I know last time I spoke to you, you said you guys had something that was drafted that was going to go to legal for review before it made it to the agenda. So I was just waiting to see, what the process was.
Yeah, so The committee, there's no ordinance in place, there's drafted ordinance as well as an application. And so it was sent for review so that the language matched the application and the ordinance. And there was some language that needed to be taken out. So, once I review that again, and we can move forward with trying to put it on the agenda.
Okay, so
Yeah?
it's just a matter of working out the legal details. So
Yeah.
it's in the works. Yes, okay, it's in the works, and we'll just wait for legal.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you
But
push it forward?
you can't hear me? So just so you know, the ordinance is in the works. It's in legal review right now. So once it's on the agenda, it will be publicized, so you'll be able to come and speak again. And for the volleyball court, I'm looking forward to seeing what the administration can come up with, because I know you've been asking for a while, and it will be interesting. I know Bud Street Park, they do ad hoc volleyball, 3 nets going at once down there during the summer, so it should be interesting to expand the volleyball in Morristown. And I apologize for my voice.
And I think for the volleyball court, one important piece of information should be how much interest is among residents on playing that sport.
Okay, we're going to move on to mayor's, do you have any comment for the public here?
No, just thank Mr. Tucker. I did speak to Tawana before the meeting. I assume that's why you were here. And the administration, Jillian and I will get together with Tawana tomorrow to make sure she moves this forward. So hopefully it'll be on the agenda for, what's the 23rd? I think we're going to talk about having a public meeting about it, though, too, because it's a committee and it's going to go out of committee to a public. Tawana, Councilwoman Cotton, you'll have to communicate with constituents on, after the meeting we have tomorrow. We'll do a conference call tomorrow with Jillian.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to...
Legal, make sure, I know the legal has reviewed the application, just want to make sure the application marries the ordinance, so he will be on that tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. And just to clear up that, it's an ordinance, like it's the town ordinance, not specifically with the language of Ritchie Barber in it, it's an ordinance.
Yeah, it's an ordinance.
Okay.
I get it.
Town
Yep.
ordinance.
Yep.
Okay.
And the last thing is, Mila, who came, so those who don't know on the council, most people do, this is an Elms, maybe a future public speaker, could be on that side of the table one day. But she gave a great presentation to Jillian and I, and is passionate about volleyball, especially at the high school level. And she really gave us a great presentation to where we're dug in with her. So she's passionate about it. And was this your first time public speaking? Well, you did very well.
Very well.
You did very well.
Kudos for coming up and speaking for the bravery.
After you spoke, I thought we were going to clap, but nobody clapped.
Well, that's right, we can clap.
No, but really, it's great to see that kind of passion in our youth. So we appreciate you coming here, both of you, and look forward to working with you. I'm going to, if it's okay, Council President, I just want to go through my event listings before I do presentation.
Sure.
All right. On April 30th, Creature Comfort Pets it was a nonprofit organization dedicated to bringing the benefits of pet therapy to those in need. Hosted their annual National Therapy Animal Day. It rained. Does you remember that weekend, the 30th? It rained and kept raining. They had it indoors. Headquarters Plaza opened up the mall. It was super well attended. I could not believe how many therapy dogs are out there. And what they do, they touch 70,000 people a year, these therapy dogs. And it was pretty funny because my wife said to the woman running it, they're so well behaved, all these dogs. If I brought my dogs there, they'd be crazy. right? Running around trying to yap at everybody, and the woman turns to, of course, they're therapy dogs. That's what they're supposed to do. But I guess you had to be there to really get that, to see 70 dogs, like, all getting along. So we want to thank them for what they do for our community. I want to thank council members for attending events, and Councilman Umbriac for helping me Friday night with the presentation to the rabbi at Temple B'nai Or, and also for opening day baseball. I didn't know, did you throw out the first pitch?
No, so this year was different. They had a baseball player and a softball player.
Oh,
for the first
okay,
pitch.
all right. Unfortunately, I was away this weekend. Everything was set for the weekend before, which I was here for all the events. However, everything got rained out that weekend, so I want to thank the councilman for going to the baseball, and then thank everybody who Councilwoman Mayor, and I believe was there, Nathan Umbriac, anybody else for the shade tree at Ledgerwood, and Kristen, and Tawana, okay, I wasn't here, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And our shade tree commission, and RJ Bell, were you there? There you go. I figured that. No, okay, so thank you all for your commitment to our town, and you guys for showing up at all the events. That's terrific. May 7th, this is the one sorry I missed. Again, thank you, Councilman. Burnham Park Association had their fun day in the park, their 75th anniversary celebration. For those all who went, thank you very much. The Burnham Park Association is fantastic. We've been working hand in hand with them for a few years. I've been working with them for now over 12, so they're very dedicated, and we're so happy that this master plan is now moving. I'll talk about it in a little bit. May 13th, this is Saturday. I will not be in attendance. It is my anniversary. I had plans. Moms Demand Action will be at 10 a.m. 11 a.m. 11 a.m. In front of Town Hall for their rally. Saturday, May 20th, 9 to noon, Morristown Environmental Commission and Morristown Clean Communities host a spring cleanup at Town Hall. So you can pre-register at townofmorristown.org/rec, or just come at 9 o'clock Saturday morning, the 20th, and do our town-wide cleanup. I also want to throw out there the shred event, which I think is a great event. People get to shred those documents that are sitting in the basement and closets for 30 years, or financials that you don't need anymore, shred them. And we have the event, the Kiwanis do the event, and it's terrific. And we want to thank the Kiwanis Club of Morristown for hosting that. Sunday, May 28th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Morristown Rotary Original Music Festival will be at Ledgerwood Park and Gazebo. Day of music, games, and activities. So mark your calendars, the 28th of May. That is the holiday weekend. So mark your calendars. And 11 a.m. Memorial Day services in the Morristown Green will be May 29th. If rain, services will be held at the Morris Township Municipal Building. Registration and ID badges are required to swim at Caldwell Pool this year and will be required for every visit. For more information, call 973-292-6717 or email rec@townofmorristown.org. I believe they'll be reaching out to people and doing that other than just this announcement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
I posted it, and I'm also going to help distribute some of the flyers as well, so. Yes.
Okay,
And
terrific.
Morristown Housing Authority is also helping to get the word
Nice.
out
All right,
amongst
terrific.
our residents.
Did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? Good. I can't just walk up there. I gotta ask.
Hour.
No, it's not an hour.
Toshiba and I were going across the street.
Not an hour. Really quick, we have the chief of police in the back. Right? They heard the comments, they're aware of it. Okay. Glasses on or off, it's sometimes hard to see. Okay. So this is beginning of our budget. So we'll introduce the budget tonight to the council. It's up to them to reject it or accept it. We're hoping they accept it. So good evening. I am pleased to present the 2023 proposed budget totaling $45.5 million. This year's budget includes a tax increase of 2.9 cents, which reflects an impact of inflationary pressure on our largest expenses, coupled with continued stagnation in our major revenue sources. Together with school, county, and library taxes, the average homeowner is expected to see a total tax increase of 1.8 cents, or about $5 a month. We continue to do all the right things to keep our finances stable. Our tax collection is over 99%. Construction activity and permit revenues are at a record high. We've reduced salary costs and taken advantage of attrition to maintain services without increasing expenses. And our finance department regularly explores our investment strategies to ensure we are maximizing our interest income. But outside forces continue to undermine our efforts at financial balance at every turn. The cost of fuel is up. Sanitation costs are up. The cost of health care insurance is up. Pension costs are up over 10% for the third year in a row. You know, and I want to just I'm going to make some ad-lib comments as I go through this. We hear often that the state doesn't raise our taxes. But what they do is they pass on to the municipalities these types of increases. So that's 30% increase in pensions in 3 years. So they may say they don't raise taxes, but they pass that on to the municipality. So that's where the money goes. As much as I'd love to offset these increases and even more, or continue to burn down our surplus, it would be irresponsible to cripple our long-term stability for a situation that I believe is passing. There are encouraging trends on the horizon that I expect will turn this tide in the near future, some of which we'll discuss tonight. Nevertheless, this year, we must ask our residents and property owners to work with us to ensure that we continue to thrive as a community. Do you know that over $350 million in property in town is not taxable? That equates to almost $10 million in taxes that aren't collected, of which the town would receive $3.7 million. That money would have a sizable impact on our budget and your taxes. But we never see that revenue because we are saddled with a disproportionate number of non-taxable properties. As the county seat, Morristown hosts a lot of state and county uses, as well as nonprofit organizations that benefit from municipal services but don't contribute to any property tax revenue. And just like private industry, nonprofits are attracted to Morristown because of its wonderful community that we have built. As a result, properties are regularly removed from the tax rolls without our ability to intervene, meaning fewer property owners are left to share in the burden of supporting local services. Don't get me wrong, I am eternally grateful to the many local organizations that support our residents, especially those in need. However, that comes at a cost that you as property owners must carry. Another source of lost revenue is the energy tax receipts of state aid. Since 2007, the state of New Jersey has been siphoning this revenue away from local municipalities for its own use. In fact, in 2010, they significantly reduced this vital revenue source and then held it flat until this year, where we got a much appreciated paltry increase. If we were to receive the funds to which we are entitled, it would decrease the levy by over $2 million. That's 9 pennies on the tax rate, or $324 for the average taxpayer. Until the state allows us to help ourselves by returning revenue that is rightfully ours, we must look elsewhere. We keep these limitations in mind as we balance the need for development and growth in our town. John F. Kennedy once said, "For time and the world do not stand still. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future." To me, that's a fancy way of saying change or die. Our town continues to flourish because we collectively know that evolution benefits us all. The development that has happened here in the last dozen years is a remarkable change over the stagnation of the past and has resulted in investment in every corner of our town. I am proud of what we've accomplished together so far. Last year, we welcomed Deloitte to Morris Street, the first phase of M Station. Through difficult for some to envision at first, has demonstrated that places like ours are exactly what the modern worker is looking for. As a result of this success, not only one, but 2 additional companies are now relocating their headquarters to Morristown. Valley National is moving their headquarters and is almost complete on Spiegel Avenue. The fully taxable project will bring hundreds of jobs to an area that has been undervalued, and I am hopeful that this breath of life will encourage continued investment throughout that corridor. This project partners well with the rejuvenation happening across the street at Headquarters Plaza. Led by the renovation of Hyatt and Pioneers Plaza, there are now multiple restaurateurs working to activate that area in storefronts that have been vacant for well over a decade. Excuse me. And the plaza now hosts a number of public events, will hold a number of public events like the upcoming First Friday of the Mayor's Jazz and Blues Festival to be held in September. This is the kind of energy we were hoping for in this area. Momentum continues. I also look forward to the upcoming groundbreaking of M Station West, which will house a North American flagship location for Santa Fe Pharmaceuticals. Their excitement to join Deloitte in Morristown is palpable. And without M Station, we would not have been able to build the roundabout at Morris and Spring Street. Though it has taken a little getting used to, this intersection improvement has made the area better for pedestrians and motorists alike. In addition to the intersection improvements and sense of place that M Station has brought, I want to take the time to highlight how redevelopment projects have directly benefited our finances as well. In 2023, we anticipate collecting over $2 million in pilot payments, which will save the average taxpayer almost $4,000 over the next 10 years. Moving forward, we will keep the pressure on other property owners in town who have let their properties stagnate. Our community deserves better than to see properties languish for years and years. That's why we'll ask the council to work with us to move a number of projects along this year, including the old hotel site on Market Street and the properties on North Park Place, to include the now vacant Century 21 building. We will see that it's our whole town that thrives with us. In addition to the commercial district, we recently saw the opening of Max on Morris, the mixed-use residential project on Morris Street. Includes the first affordable special needs housing component built in town so far. Right, Billy? There you go. We are especially proud of the addition to our affordable housing portfolio because it is such a needed amenity. This is the very population that benefits most from being located in a walkable community like Morristown. I look forward to welcoming these residents into our community soon. Speaking of affordable housing, my administration has been a vocal supporter of the inclusionary development since I took office, and to date, over 300 affordable family housing units have been built in Morristown, with many more under construction. I would venture to say that it is more units than most, if not all, other communities in our area, and I am proud to claim that. We will continue ensuring that all families have a place to live in Morristown. That's why I am happy to give a sneak preview of a program to be unveiled at the end of the month. Morristown will be introducing a housing rehab grant program for low-income homeowners who need assistance with improving projects in their homes. This program will especially be helpful for our vulnerable seniors who want to age in place, but find upkeep of their properties challenging on a fixed income. More information on this program will be shared at the next council meeting by our administrative agent, CGP&H. Stay tuned. In addition to making sure all our residents have a place here, preservation of our history is important. The Morristown Post Office at the corner of the Green has been actively deteriorating for decades, while the federal government does little to protect this important part of the town's history. That's why I've been advocating for the town to assume ownership of this priceless gem, because it is clear we can be better stewards of this historic structure than the U.S. Postal Service. Unfortunately, that will be a tall order, and it remains to be seen how those puzzles will fit together. But nothing worth having is ever easy. It's not, and I'm not afraid to take on a tough problem to ensure that a major piece of our history isn't lost to further neglect. It's the right thing to do for our town. Investment in our environment is as important as preserving its history. That's why I'm thrilled to join the Flood Mitigation Task Force with my fellow mayors to the east. This group is focused on solving some of the issues that contribute to the flooding of the Whippany River and its tributaries. The group has already secured 2 important grants, $1.5 million from the USDA to begin clearing and desnagging parts of the river downstream, and $300,000 for the Army Corps of Engineers to conduct a flood risk reduction study to identify permanent flood reduction strategies. Through this effort will take many years, but I am grateful for the support of our Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill on this initiative, and look forward to working with the task force to seek solutions to benefit our region. I also want to send a special shout out to Mayor Ace Gallagher from Hanover for kickstarting this effort. Flood mitigation is not limited to our lakes and our rivers. Our engineering division continues to work diligently to implement improvements to our stormwater system to mitigate flooding during high rain events, which seem to be happening more and more often. Last year, we were able to complete drainage improvements in Columbia Street, Cutler Street, Lidgerwood Park, and cleared out decades of debris in the Bud Street culvert. Some of the stuff I heard they pulled out of there was there for, Anthony shaking his head in the back, probably 30 years, maybe longer, more than 30 years. So that was a project that was taken on, and it's really helped a lot, and we got it done. Going forward, we are working on multiple projects that include areas of Western Avenue and Pine Streets. These are anticipated to be multi-year projects that will be completed as capital, grant, and other resources allow. Thank you to our engineering department for their hard work. Preservation, expansion, and investment in our open space is important to our environment, as it is supporting usable recreation facilities throughout our town. Our parks are critical to the quality of life for young and old alike. One of the gemstones in our park system is Burnham Park. Donated to the town in 1911, this park not only is the largest in town, but hosts a variety of activities while supporting wildlife and native vegetation. Last year, we wrapped up a 2-year planning process that culminated in a revitalization plan for the park. This plan will be a template for capital investment decisions as resources allow, but it will also be a roadmap for grant opportunities. I am happy to share that we have recently been awarded our first grant for this park. Green Acres has earmarked $900,000 towards hydro raking the front pond, and these funds will go a long way toward implementing this first project. More will be done over the next 5 to 10 years to make sure that this vital asset continues to bring joy to generations to come. And I would be remiss if it did not take this opportunity to congratulate the Burnham Park Association on celebrating their 75th anniversary this year. Their advocacy and dedication to this park has been invaluable, and I thank them for their commitment. Last year, we continued our park amenities investment with resurfacing of the courts at Bud Street, Jersey Cottage Avenue, beautiful amenities in these neighborhoods. This year, we will continue with the completion of improvements to the field house at Burnham Park, which should be completed this spring, and at the start of construction of the new bathroom facilities at Granby Park. This investment would not be possible without generous grants from the CDBG program, and we thank the county for its contribution. We also will be creating 2 dedicated, now this is, I know some people have been waiting a while to hear this, we will also be dedicating 2 pickleball courts at Lidgerwood Park to meet the increasing demand for those who play pickleball. Anybody on the council play pickleball? You will. Get a little older. Our town would not be what it is if it wasn't for the stellar services of our public safety agencies. In the last 18 months, we have hired 16 new police officers. Like many communities, Morristown has experienced an unusual high number of retirements in the aftermath of COVID. That resulted in a substantial number of vacancies. But it has also offered an opportunity for us to hire young, enthusiastic officers that better reflect the diversity of our community. Thanks to the alternate route hiring process adopted last year with the support of this governing body, over 20% of our force now are from underrepresented groups including Hispanic, African American, Asian American, and female officers. Maintaining diversity in our ranks continues to be the focus of my administration, and I am proud of what we have accomplished here so far. But more can be done, and we will continue to ensure that our police officers are well-trained and well-rounded. Led by our first black police chief in Morristown, our police bureau is leveraging the foundation of experienced leadership with the infusion of new energy to do policing differently. For example, the Morristown Bureau of Police is creating a mental health outreach program designed to assist those who are struggling, have disabilities, and are facing other difficult circumstances. When fully functional, the goal of this program will be offer various services, including food assistance, housing assistance, job training referrals, and more, demonstrating the commitment to a well-rounded community-focusing policing in Morristown. The outreach program is HEART, HEART. It is anticipated to be up and running by late 2023. In addition, our police will continue to focus with community outreach initiatives like Coffee with a Cop, and will seek reaccreditation this year that will affirm the excellence that we have achieved. I am incredibly proud of the efforts and accomplishments of our Police Bureau, and want to thank Chief Richardson and Public Safety Director Mike Cochran for your masterful leadership. He doesn't like that. But no. In fact, the Public Safety Department recently collaborated with our senior services in division to host a fraud prevention seminar facilitated by the Secret Service. Our seniors were given information and tools to help them navigate the ever-evolving fraud tactics commonly used to target specific groups of people like them. I sat in on that seminar, and I learned things about credit cards and about banking and how seniors are targeted. And lo and behold, I was using a bank card to get gas. And I noticed weeks later there was a charge on the card. It wasn't a big charge. It was like a couple of dollars, like $1 something. But it didn't sit right. So I went to the bank, and that's what they do. They somehow capture your card in a machine, even at a gas station, and they wait, and then they test it for like $1 or $2, and if it goes through, they nail it. I've had to change bank cards a few times, and I've learned now to go to my bank, get some cash, then go get gas, or try to use cash more, or a credit card, which is a little bit more safer than your bank card. But it was great. It was a great Secret Service coming in, gave so much education to our seniors. It was well attended. So Michael, thank you. And the staff at the Senior Center, Shanae, and everybody that worked on that. That was really, really productive. This program is one of many that our Senior Service Division has hosted in the past year. In addition to weekly exercise programs, we have now added line dancing, which the Chief of Police will be teaching. No, I'm not kidding. Jillian may be teaching that. So Jillian's a renowned line dancer. Bingo, pet therapy in our senior centers at no cost, which is terrific. We also partner with Atlantic Health to present seminars every month on well-being and healthy living. My administration remains committed to the needs of our seniors. I look forward to our regular Q&A sessions as well as the annual holiday party, an event that is generously supported by local businesses and is the highlight of the year. Like our senior programs, our youth programs have expanded and become more diverse. Thanks to our staff in recreation, enrollment in our programs is at an all-time high and include not only sports, but non-sport programs like robotics, STEM programs. We will continue to be creative to offer a variety of activities for young people of all interests. Last year marked the first year that our health division was back in-house and exclusively dedicated to the health and safety needs of our Morristonians. And boy, have we gotten off to our money's worth. The past year, our health division was successfully awarded 2 grants totaling almost $300,000 focused on communicable disease prevention and COVID outreach. Their effort led to over 800 COVID vaccinations given, as well as partnerships made throughout the community with organizations and houses of worship to serve our residents. In addition to this critical work, the Health Division has also streamlined their application process to make it easier for small businesses owners to do business in Morristown. And we can't forget our animal control, who worked hard to ensure that our furry friends are healthy and happy. In fact, 343 rabies vaccinations were provided at our annual clinic at no cost. Our next free rabies clinic is coming up in June. And lastly, I cannot forget to mention our fire department. Their bravery and dedication each and every day ensures our citizens remain safe. In fact, a number of our career and volunteer firefighters were recently honored by the 200 Club for their response to a fire on Elm Street last year. Due to their swift and skilled action at the difficult scene, they were able to save the life of a resident in a treacherous situation. I want to thank them all for what they do every day. I hope that my remarks tonight gave you a sense of why our town is better than so many others. It's not about flashy headlines or sound bites, but it's about doing what we do well. Okay, I may be biased, but I know that Morristown is special. We continue to face challenges like everyone else, but I am confident that we will continue to flourish. Now that the public health emergency has passed, and we have a glimpse of what our new normal looks like, it is clear to me that our new normal is going to be pretty great. Barack Obama once said, "The future rewards those who press on." I don't have time to feel sorry for myself, nor do I have the time to complain. I'm going to press on. As long as we stay the course, as long as we press on, I know that our future is bright. That's okay. She's rushing me out. Before I sit down and turn the council, the governing body to their meeting, before you leave, and it's important I state this, there are people in this room that make these types of things happen. Obviously, the governing body is as much as important. Jillian Barrick, our business administrator, is a gift that was given to this community, is an amazing woman, an amazing business administrator, and just an amazing human being. Frank Mason is amazing CFO, and sitting next to him is Al Chief, our Director of Code Enforcement, Property Maintenance, and a million other things. Our Shade Tree Commission, all these people, our lawyer Dave Mancello, our Police Chief, Fire Chief Bob Flanagan, our engineer, all these people combined is what makes this tick. It's nice to stand up here and read and talk about how our town's doing. And listen, we struggle like every other town. It's tough out there right now financially. Everything costs is through the roof. Everything. You see it when you go to the supermarket. Everybody knows the cost of just doing business. So the fact that we're able to maintain not a large tax increase, and like I said this 13 years ago, I need to raise taxes, that's what I have to do, and it's not exorbitant. It's going to come out to about $5 a household when you take the county and the school into it. So it's something I think that's doable, but my success is based on what they do, including the governing body. And when you work together like this, and you have people that are staffed that know what they're doing and they're dedicated to a community, the results speak for themselves. So personally, thank all of you for what you do to make me successful.
All right, now the fun part. All right. Can everyone see the screen? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so tonight we'll be going through the details of the budget that is reflected in the proposal that's before you tonight. So as the mayor indicated in his remarks, we have a 2.9% increase to 2023 budget. It's actually a little over $5 a month. That's a typo. It's not $8, it's actually $5, about $5.50. It's on the next slide. The net assessed valuation is $2.3 billion, and we're under the property tax cap. 1 penny of the tax rate is $230,848. $230,848. So the property tax rates for 2023, the total tax rate, including the municipal tax rate, and the school district, the county, and the library, is 1.8 cents. As the mayor indicated, the 2.9 cents would be the municipal tax rate, but the county and the school district are going down. Part of that is because our property tax value has been going up, so that offsets some of the budget in the school and the county. So our average taxpayers like I said, it's about $5. The breakdown of the property tax rate between the school district and the municipality, the school district's about 49% or almost 50%. Municipality is just under 38%. The county's about 11%, and the library is 1.5%. So only 37 cents of each tax dollar comes to the municipality. So, for every $100,000 of assessed value, the municipal tax rate went up about $30. It's about $17 per $100,000 of assessed value. This is more reasonable. This is easier to look at. So the average residential property is $358,393. And assuming the average residential property, the annual increase is $66 a year or $5.50 per month. So, inflation. Everybody has to, there's inflation every year, whether we like it or not. And, you know, I thought this year would be particularly important to explain how inflation impacts our budget versus what we've seen over the last few years. So this graph reflects the annual inflationary increase compared to our annual increase in tax rate. And what you'll see is that our tax rate is typically substantially less than inflation. And even the last couple of years, inflation has been 5% and 6%. And, you know, our tax rate increases are substantially less. In fact, our average tax rate increase since 2010 has been less than 1% a year. Even more telling is this graph, which is the cumulative effect of inflation over the last 13 years. Since 2010, inflation's gone up 33%. Whereas in many years, our tax rate has gone down. The impact of our tax rate has gone down. And so even though we've had to, unfortunately, increase taxes the last couple of years, a nominal amount, we're still lagging inflation substantially. Unfortunately, the cost of things have gone up. As the mayor's indicated in his comments, fuel, sanitation, other expenses are simply going up so much that there's no way to offset it in our budget. So we're asking for a nominal tax increase. But we're still lagging way behind where inflation would otherwise impact our budget. So what does our tax base look like? It's $2.3 billion. We actually saw an increase of almost $9 million this year, most of which was in the apartment and residential categories. That reflects both the increase of value from new construction as well as added assessments from rehabs and other kinds of investment in residential and apartment complexes. There was some reduction in commercial, which was a reflection of some tax appeals in larger commercial properties. The equalization rate has been about the same the last couple of years. As we all are aware, we are actively conducting a revaluation of all of our properties. So this equalization rate next year will go up closer to 100%. But our equalization rate really hasn't changed the last couple of years. So summarizing our budget, the 2023 budget totals $45 million, $45.5 million, which includes $44 million in our municipal budget and about a little over $1 million in grants. The sewer budget is $7.4 million, which is about what it was last year. In the sewer budget, we're increasing the capital investment a little bit because they've got some larger projects that they're planning to accomplish this year. That's being paid for out of their operating budget. For a total financial budget between the utility and our operating fund of $53 million. So out of our revenue, 57, a little under 58% is the municipal tax levy, and the surplus is the next largest category. It's 7.9%. Special items of revenue is 8.7. That's the grants, and so on and so forth. This graph really doesn't change much from year to year, and remains pretty static. So I want to spend a little time talking about how the revenues have changed. So the good news is that we've seen some revenue categories going up, particularly our pilot payments. You have M Station, which just came online in June of last year, so we saw a little under $300,000 in revenue from M Station. We did see a nominal increase in state aid of $167,000. I do want to point out that that is a discretionary dollar amount. Until this year, it's been flat. I think, quite frankly, the governor increased it this year because of the scuttlebutt over the state health benefits plan. There's no guarantee that we'll get this money next year, but we will happily accept it now. Hotel motel tax, this is a good one. This revenue is starting to rebound. Since COVID, we saw a significant decline, but it's now that the Hyatt's been renovated and people are starting to travel more, that revenue has been rebounding. Max on Morris is new, and that's reflected on the building opening up, and then 55 Prospect went up as well. So we did see an increase in these large tax, these non-tax revenues of almost $800,000. Unfortunately, we also saw a decline in revenue sources. The receipts from delinquent taxes are down $200,000, though that's partly because our collection rate was higher this year. Our use of surplus and the proposed budget is down $200,000, which I'll talk about a little bit further. But we need to reduce our reliance on the use of surplus, which we did increase since COVID to try to get through these very revenue challenges. The American Recovery Plan monies that we received, we used almost $700,000 in the budget last year. We're using about $500 this year. We've got $500 left, so we want to retain the last $500,000 for use in our next year's budget. So it's an effective reduction of almost $200,000 in this year's budget. Municipal court revenue is down in this year. Last year, we were able to take advantage of the state's rule to allow us to use a 3-year average. That was in place because of COVID. So we were able to budget for, and we anticipated a slightly higher rate than we were able to realize. This year, we're not able to use a 3-year average, and we had to use the actual receipts from municipal court, which were down from what we anticipated. And then fee and permit revenues were down as well. So as much as we increased revenue sources, we lost revenue sources at almost an equal rate this year too. The mayor talked a little bit about the energy tax receipts, which is colloquially called state aid. $300 per taxpayer we would benefit if the state actually gives us our money. We advocate every year for this. Hopefully somebody in Trenton will listen one day, but until then, I will continue to whine every year about it. All right, so the use of surplus, $3.6 million is what we're anticipating this year, which is down from 3.8 we anticipated last year. These are one-time revenue sources, the reserve for tax appeals, capital improvements, sick leave, uncollected taxes, et cetera. So the fund balance trend. This is why we need to reduce our use of surplus. This year's use of surplus, it's anticipated, still meets our fund balance target, although just barely. We need to start weaning ourselves off of the use of surplus and get to something that's more balanced. Our projections show that we will be able to maintain that into the future, but in order to do that, we need to start reducing our use of surplus, and we're anticipating doing that over the next 2 to 3 years. So as far as appropriations are concerned, again, this pie chart doesn't change much either from year to year. The largest segment is public safety at 3.1%. Insurance is the next highest category at a little over $8 million. And then public works is the next largest category at $7 million. Departmental operations are actually down. So salaries are down by a little over 2%. We were able to take advantage of attrition this year, particularly in the public safety division, to maintain headcounts but see lower salaries. There were a couple of positions we were also able to either eliminate or transfer into lower cost positions. And so salaries are down about $400,000. Unfortunately, other expenses are up. That's primarily attributed to the cost of sanitation and recycling. But nonetheless, departmental operations are down. But other things are up. So you have our interest on bonds. You may recall last year we did a long-term bond issue, And so we now have our interest on bonds that increased by $400,000. Medical and dental insurance is up about $400,000. The underlying increase is 10%, but we were able to offset some of that to limit the increase to the operating budget. PRFS pension is up $400,000. The mayor mentioned that as well. Our liability and workers' comp insurance is also up. In prior years, we were actually able to control this cost pretty well, but the insurance market since COVID, as well as the impact of flooding and other storm events has meant that property and casualty insurance is up substantially. EPL insurance, which is employment practices law, liability insurance is up. The impact of computer and IT insurance is up. So the cost of insurance to us is just significantly more than we've seen in the past. And the recycling and sanitation in our budget is also up over $100,000. So those 5 categories alone is $1.5 million in increases. We were able to achieve some savings. As I mentioned, police salaries are down almost $200,000. The bond anticipation notes are down, but that's offset by the increase in the actual bond interest. Public works salaries are down, again, from attrition, and then the reserve for uncollected taxes and salary increases are down as well. Pension costs, it's $5 million. As the mayor mentioned, every year we see increases in our contribution rates, both for PFRS and PERS, and it continues to result in substantial increases in our pension expenses that are unavoidable. Similarly with healthcare, we are not in state health benefits, hallelujah.
Thank God.
But the cost of health insurance is still significantly high. We were able to control some costs this year. If you remember, we went to Medicare Advantage for our retirees starting in July of last year, so that resulted in some cost mitigation, but we still are seeing substantial increases in the cost of healthcare to the tune of over $400,000. Debt service, we're still AA+, which is with a stable outlook, which is great. I'm hoping that as we weather the financial position we're in right now, that we'll continue to get to AAA+, and by the time we do our next bond issue, that we can make a case for AAA. But that won't happen unless we're able to control our use of fund balance. So that's really going to be something we're going to aim to do over the next few years. We have scheduled principal payment of $2,450,000, and we have net debt outstanding this year of 26.9, a little under $27 million. The total net debt to equalized value is 0.91%, which is excellent, and our total net debt has declined $17.8 million or 40% since 2010. In the utility, the principal debt was reduced by almost $1 million. We have one more payment left of $490,000, and then the debt in the sewer utility will be exhausted. And we are excited that our sewer utility is healthy enough that we can achieve that. And I look forward to having this slide say 0 next year. Lastly, we have our capital projects, which totals $2.5 or $2.6 million, of which 2.1 is anticipated to be bond funded. This is another relatively austere year for capital projects, in that we have had past years where we've spent $3 or $4 million a year. This year we're really focused on our core investments in roads, paving, sidewalks, things like that. We're doing some limited investments in parks like the pickleball court restriping. We're also doing the Granby Park bathrooms. We got a grant for a good chunk of it, but we're going to have to fund the balance of that as part of the capital plan. You'll find a more detailed list of the capital projects in your binders. That wasn't too bad. That concludes my description of the budget, and I look forward to your deliberation process. I'm happy to meet with each of you as you like to address any questions or to go over the budget as you continue deliberation process.
want us to email questions ahead?
Yes, that would be great. Yeah, emailing questions ahead would be really helpful, because then I'd be prepared for it. But I'm happy to, communicate with you however you'd like.
Quick question, state's doing pretty well, and they just got a bond increase, a rating increase.
Sure did.
Is there any talk of municipal aid? Any talk of municipal aid?
I will say the League of Municipalities has been advocating strongly for the restoration of the state aid. There's been some chatter at the legislative level to pass the legislation to require the state to return our state aid. Whether there's enough political will to make that happen remains to be seen. That's certainly a complicated question, because I imagine that that's a large number when you consolidate 365 municipalities worth of state aid being used for the state budget. That's probably a pretty big number for them. I'm hopeful that this nominal increase we got this year is a sign of good things to come, but I'm also skeptical that we'll really see
And the pension
major change.
the pension that we expense is just an allocation of the total expense of the pension for our employees, or is that 100% of the expense of the pension on our employees?
Can you rephrase that, please?
Does the state pick up any of the pension expense here?
No,
So when they're current with their payments, we don't benefit from that either.
Right, so the state has their own pension funds, and the municipalities have their own pension funds. The state's pension fund and their pension payments are towards the state employees' portion of the pension. That doesn't affect the municipalities. The interesting thing is that the municipal pension fund, we're obligated to make our pension payments. If we don't make our pension payments, they will keep our state aid. So, municipalities don't have a choice of whether we make our pension payments. Whereas the state, of course, can decide, we'll just skip a payment this year. Thankfully, they haven't done that. But whether they make a payment or not doesn't affect our local pensions as of today, because their state pension fund is separate from the municipalities. At times, there have been talk about merging the state pension fund and the local pension funds, but for obvious reasons, there have been a lot of advocates against that, because they'll start siphoning our money just like they do everything else.
If correct, didn't Corzine pass the buck on the pension?
Honestly, a lot of governors have passed the buck on and I think it's both been Democrats and Republicans. I think it actually started under Whitman.
Under Whitman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been
That's when
more egregious lately, I think.
Last question I have is on the reserve. I know we passed an ordinance years ago that actually lowered the percentage of reserve we had to keep, I believe.
Yeah.
What is that percentage now? And is that also required by state law or by any kind of GASB or accounting standard?
There's not a requirement for a fund balance target. The fund balance target is really a best practice that's established by sort of financial practices. And that's why we'd ask for you to pass that. I believe it's 18%.
18%?
Yes.
That's what we passed, but that's discretionary.
That's what we pass. It's discretionary, and it's a target. It's not an obligation. If for some reason we don't meet the target, there's no penalty per se.
Gotcha.
But it's a best practice that we really want to try to adhere to, because one, it's good financial practice, but also it's by adhering to that, the rating agencies look favorably on us for that.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Your judgment.
I look forward to our conversations as you review your binder. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're going to find any fat in that budget.
You ready to move on? Yeah, I'll move on. We're going to move on to council liaison reports while Stephanie's, go ahead, Stephanie. You can do what you do, so. Okay. Mr. Mayor, you're done with all your reports?
What else can I think of to chat about?
We're good. We're good.
Appreciate it. Did she say appreciate it? Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Council liaison reports?
Yes, thank you. meeting was this past Tuesday. Most of the meeting was dedicated to continue the planning and organization of the townwide cleanup on May 20th. One of the things that I have noticed at MEC is that they are short of commissioners, so I'm just encouraging residents that are concerned about environment to join the Environmental Commission to serve and learn. You don't need to know, but you will learn a lot because there are 2 or 3 people there that know a lot about environmental and they're doing a great work. So most of the meeting was about that, and one important thing to say is that there is a web that already the mayor said about the people that participate can register through that web. Let me see, what is the name of that? It's the Pass?
Community Pass?
Yeah, Community Pass, Town of Morristown.
The Community Pass.
/rec.
Correct. And they need more volunteers for certain parts of the organization when people arrive here to give up the teachers and all the bags and all that. They are in contact with DPW to the follow-up of the cleanup, and I think that they're doing very good. So that's it.
David, just a follow-up question on the cleanup. I know in prior years, there's been a requirement to sign up. Can you just show up at Town Hall and grab some bags and a bagel? And
There will be people, table with 2 volunteers to sign people that walk in. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Right. It's not really required, we just, we like people to register because we can anticipate how many people are attending, but
How
if
many
you,
gloves we need, how many...
but if you wake up that day and you feel inspired to show up, come on.
Go ahead, Dave.
Morristown Partnership meets tomorrow morning.
Morristown Housing Authority meets Monday, May 22nd, 6 o'clock, and just a reminder, it's here now on the 4th floor of Town Hall, 6 o'clock, Morristown Housing Authority.
Thank you. Ms. Cotton, I'm assuming you have a Shade Tree Commission.
I do have a Shade Tree Commission report. Okay, so the Arbor Day celebration with Morristown Rotary Club was a successful event. There will be a second celebration from the Rotary Club in Ledgerwood Park on Sunday, May 28th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. with music and food trucks to honor former Mayor Jay Delaney. Sorry. There's an addition to this. Okay, and Shade Tree Commission would like to say thank you to Council President Mayor, Council Vice President Umbriac, and Councilwoman Cotton for supporting their event. The Plant Native brochure developed by the Friends of Foots Pond Wood was linked by a New York Times article. Anyone who wishes to donate a tree can make a check out to the town of Morristown with Shade Tree Fund in the memo line. Tree cost is $500 and any donation is welcome. The Shade Tree Commission has open spots. If you love trees and the environment, please join. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to regular business. Stephanie, ordinance for introduction.
Okay, we have 2 ordinance for introduction this evening. Ordinance number O-12-2023, calendar year ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Motion to introduce? NJSA 48:4-45.14.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-12-2023.
Well, second.
Okay, any comments or questions from council? No? Okay. Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilman Umbriac?
Yes.
And Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Ordinance number O-13-2023, ordinance rescinding an ordinance to delete a designated handicap parking space on Library Street from Chapter Chapter 7-40.2 of the Code of the Town of Morristown.
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-13-2023.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions from council? Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilman Cotton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak?
Yes.
And Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Okay. This evening, we have two ordinance for adoption. We have public hearing and adoption this evening, sorry. Ordinance number 9-2023, an ordinance of the Town of Morristown in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, establishing compensation for certain officers and employees of the Town of Morristown.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-9-2023.
I'll second.
At this time, I will open the floor for a public hearing on ordinance O-9-2023. Okay. I'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from council? None? Okay. On the adoption of ordinance O-9-2023, Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilman Umbreak?
Yes.
Council President Mayer?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance O-9-2023 is adopted. Ordinance number O-10-2023, ordinance amending and revising Chapter 19, Solid Waste Management, Garbage and Recyclables of the Code of the Town of Morristown.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-10-2023.
I'll second.
At this time, I will open the floor for a public hearing on ordinance O-10-2023. Okay. Now we'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from council?
Just a few comments. I received some comments from, through the partnership from business owners about certain businesses that are in spaces that lack the infrastructure or space for garbage collection. And what they would need to do is basically put the garbage or the, let's say, cardboard on the street for pickup. So I had a conversation with Jillian, if we could maybe take a look at that and make some exceptions based on certain properties that don't have the infrastructure or the space, are limited because they're in older buildings, older spaces. But I do recognize, obviously, that, the town is no longer making money, that we need to do something to prevent, fraudulent use of the recycling center, or, I guess fraudulent's not the right word, but incorrect use or overuse. Because it's certainly costing the town a lot of money. So I think at this point, all things considered, I think it's appropriate to move forward and pass this, and then perhaps have a conversation later on maybe something in the future, depending on certain.
But it's interesting, along those lines, maybe we have to think of doing something different for them. Because I don't think it's fair to treat one business different from another business.
Right.
The mayor and I were helping out a neighbor with reference to a property that was being used to basically transfer recyclables from.
I'm well aware, yes.
You know what I'm talking about. But maybe what we have to do is just give them the ability for a storage transfer area, something like that. You know what I mean? To take it off their property, get it out of the center of town, and then have them basically have it picked up somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk.
Yeah.
Because it could become a problem elsewhere in town, cause trickle-down problems.
Sure.
I'm actually.
It's the right thing to do, I think.
Yeah.
I certainly agree. Unfortunately, these questions were only brought to my attention in the last few hours, literally. So I haven't had the opportunity to really digest and try to problem solve, but I'm happy to work with the business community to figure that out. I'm actually happen to be meeting with Jen Waring tomorrow afternoon on another matter. So, we'll continue to brainstorm and try to come up with a resolution for those specific businesses that doesn't result in, sort of debris left on the sidewalk, but also doesn't unduly burden our taxpayers.
Thank you.
Okay. On the adoption of ordinance O-10-2023, Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak?
Yes.
And Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance O-10-2023 is adopted. There are 8 resolutions for adoption on the agenda. Would any members of council like to pull any for separate consideration?
I'd like to pull 66 and 65, and we should probably pull 70, just,
65, 66, and 70.
yes.
And once one at it, let's pull 69 too. Make that point.
Okay. Do you want to do
All right, so I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 63, 64, 67, 68.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. On adoption of resolution 63, 64, 67, and 68. Councilman Armington?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton?
Yes.
Councilman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak?
Yes.
Council President Mayer?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. We will start with 65. Resolution number R-65-2023, resolution authorizing contract with approved state contract vendor for purchase of a police vehicle.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R-65, 2023.
I'll second.
Jillian, I assume this is not a hybrid vehicle?
They're not. We did purchase a hybrid vehicle when we last purchased vehicles. It took over a year for the vehicle to actually come in. These are in stock, so we got what we could get.
Okay.
Anybody else? No question.
Okay. Councilman Armington?
No.
Councilwoman Cotton?
Yes.
Councilman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak?
Yes.
Council President Mayer?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution number 66, resolution 66-2020, R-66-2023. Resolution authorizing contract with approved state contract vendor for purchase of a police vehicle.
Make a motion to adopt R-66-2023.
I'll second.
Same question on the Ford website for the vehicle. They say that the hybrid is standard. Is that the vehicle you're getting, or it's a non-hybrid vehicle?
It's the same answer. They're non-hybrid vehicles. Their hybrids are not available.
Okay.
Like I said, they're a year or more lead time.
Just for the council's edification, on the Ford utility all-wheel drive police vehicle that is hybrid, it states that if you drive 20,000 miles a year, you save $3,500 in gas at a 2.75 per gallon cost of gas, and reduce emissions of about 25,000 pounds of carbon emissions per year. So it is what it is.
So if there's a year lead time, is there a possibility, if we're going to know that we're going to need one, to place an order ahead of time, or is that not an option?
Well, if we were to, for example, if this was a resolution for a hybrid vehicle, then you would allow us to purchase the vehicle, we'd place the order, and we wouldn't get it until sometime in 2024.
Do we purchase vehicles every year? No. How is it decided to purchase them?
Relatively every year, when
Are they attritioned out on mileage or just wear and tear?
both.
But the thought is, maybe we should be passing resolutions now for next year to buy the replacement vehicles for the police for next year and order them now.
Well, that's the thing. So we've got the money now. You can't have a resolution without the money in hand, right?
You can't use it as a prepaid expense.
I mean, We could buy them now, but we'd have to wait another year and then,
Well, but that's the thought. The thought is I replace ambulances, for example, and there's a year and a half wait time for a chassis.
Yeah.
So we actually buy them now with the expectation of them being delivered in a year and a half.
Okay.
So it's just a thought. And it's a way of kind of thinking ahead and trying to get into the hybrid concept that
Sure.
Stefan's supporting.
Gotcha.
It's either a priority or it's not, so it's not a priority. Call the question.
On resolution number R-66-2023, Councilman Armington,
No.
Councilwoman Cotton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster,
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone,
Yes.
Councilman Silva,
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak,
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to resolution number R-69-2023, resolution authorizing applications for grant funding from the Federal Aviation Administration and New Jersey Department of Transportation and execution of grant agreements to fund construction of NAVIDS in connection with the rehabilitation of runway 5-23, Phase 6 at Morristown Municipal Airport.
Make a motion to adopt resolution R-69-2023.
I'll second.
Bob?
There was two resolutions with the airport tonight. One just keeps them in business of doing competitive bidding, which I voted yes on. The only reason why I'm voting no on this one is just so Jillian, because she's in conversations again with the airport, just so she can say, I voted no. Keep them anxious.
Say no.
They're here.
Well, they're here.
He heard you.
Okay. So have good conversations with her tomorrow.
That's good, that's good.
All right, interesting.
Anybody else want to make a statement? No. Okay, call the question.
On adoption of resolution number R-69-2023, Councilman Armington,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster,
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone,
No.
Councilman Silva,
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak,
Yes.
and Council President Mayer.
Yes.
Resolution number R-70-2023, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Morristown authorizing the Planning Board of the Town of Morristown to conduct a preliminary investigation to determine whether a certain area within the municipality is a condemnation area in need of redevelopment.
Make motion to adopt resolution R-70-2023.
I'll second.
Just call the
Okay. On adoption of resolution number R-70-2023, Councilman Armington,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cotton, yes. Councilwoman Foster,
Yes.
Councilman Iannicone,
yes.
Councilman Silva,
Yes.
Councilman Umbriak,
Yes.
Council President Mayer.
Yes. Resolution's adopted.
Resolutions adopted.
Okay, we're going on to unfinished old business. Doesn't look like any new business. Nothing there. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Everybody, take a vote. Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a very nice evening.